Hello and welcome to another episode of Coffee with the K's. This was a great episode where we talked about deliberate practice and the importance of deliberate practice to being successful with your instruments, and specifically how you could help your children understand the importance of deliberate practice so that they can be more successful in learning their instruments. And then it kind of took a turn because we started talking about adult learners needing to understand the process as well.
And appreciate it, value it.
There you go.
The process of learning.
Absolutely.
Not just the outcome, but the process.
Right.
Enjoy the journey.
Enjoy the journey.
There you go.
There you go. So, to be good, this is our practice episode, and this is our first episode of the year.
Season 7.
Yes.
Season 7. So, there you go. So, make sure that you subscribe, like this episode, give us some comments of some things you'd like to see in future episodes, but grab a cup of coffee and join us for this episode of Coffee with the K's.
Hey.
Okay, guys, we're back. Coffee with the K's.
We're back. Coffee. Got our coffee. We're the K's.
Very good. Very good.
Get your coffee and join us for Coffee with the K's.
Okay. Very good. So we had some time off there, but now we're back and
we're back, baby.
Ready to get going with the new season.
The K's are back in town.
There you go. That's it.
That's good coffee.
Yeah. So this is Grounds and Hounds.
I love Grounds and Hounds.
Tell us why you love Grounds and Hounds.
I love Grounds and Hounds because proceeds from Grounds and Hounds Coffee, which is in Tennessee, Joliet, Tennessee. It goes to help dog shelters all over the country, and each month or quarter they'll pick a shelter, and then all the 10% of the proceeds go to that. Mostly started as a pit bull rescue to help with pit bull rescues. So a lot of their things that, if you notice on their logo and stuff, it's a pit bull, and so an American pit bull. So there's a lot. That's where they started, but now they kind of branch out to donate to other non-kill organizations. So it's
cool.
It's very cool, and it actually is very yummy coffee. And being that it's in Tennessee, it comes quick when you order it in the mail.
Yeah,
you know
for
what
us.
would make it better?
What?
If it was a Rottweiler.
Yes, I know.
Rottweilers make everything better. That's right.
We love our Rottweilers. We are rot people for sure. But I like flavored coffee generally.
So
anyway.
you bought these little sampler packages, right?
Yes,
of all
I did.
these different flavored coffee, and I'm usually not a fan of flavored coffee. I feel like it always tastes kind of artificial and fake, and I don't know.
It tastes good.
It's good.
Okay, so the thing was, I told them I wasn't going to tell them what I was giving them, so you got to taste it
And guess.
and see if you can guess what the flavor is.
Okay, I'm guessing.
All right.
Can I guess first?
Yeah.
Madagascar vanilla.
She's probably right.
Madagascar vanilla. Well, just because she used a big word, I don't know.
Is that a big word to use?
There you go, Madagascar.
Something about that homeschool education.
She had to be specific, okay?
Because I know
it doesn't come from South Africa or anything. Like, it's Madagascar, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, okay, that doesn't. You know,
It's very delicious.
What flavor does it take?
Give it a flavor.
Vanilla.
You're tasting the vanilla.
Watch, it's not vanilla probably. Probably cinnamon.
It is not vanilla. No,
It's not?
it is not Madagascar vanilla.
Oh, man.
I know, you thought you were smart with that one.
I did. Well, he said he was going to do this with taste it and guess. I'm really bad at that.
Yeah, it definitely has hints of vanilla in it. But this is why I want to see sometimes. This is
If
why
you
I
can
wanted to
tell
do
what
this.
it
Can you
tastes
tell?
like.
Because they're the ones. The company's the one that decides this is what the flavor is supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
And then once you know when you buy it that that's the flavor, you're expecting that flavor. So then you taste it and you're like, oh, that's the flavor of the coffee. But does it really taste like that? And
Yeah,
this
I have
is,
no
this
idea.
is my thing. So are you both like it tastes like vanilla?
Yes.
Is that what you're both saying?
It really
Okay,
does.
you ready?
Well, it's chocolate.
Glazed donut.
Well,
It's a
that's kind
vanilla
of
glazed
vanilla-y.
donut.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It
Like
is
the
vanilla-y.
icing kind of like, are you getting that sweetness?
You mean
Is
like
it-
vanilla icing?
Is it vanilla icing? For the glaze, it's not. They don't. Nah.
I don't know, and it doesn't taste like glazed donut. But I
I
haven't
don't think
had
it tastes like glazed donut.
I haven't had a glazed donut in 7 years. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have, but
I know.
I haven't.
I think it tastes like, Washington vanilla, not Madagascar vanilla.
Oh.
I know they have a kind called Madagascar.
They do. I know.
But it does have a vanilla taste.
Yeah, it's very strong vanilla taste.
Usually when I think glazed donut, I think of chocolate.
Yeah.
Chocolate glazed donut.
Did it say
Is
chocolate?
there any other kind?
I know, right?
Did it say chocolate?
I don't know, that
glazed
Krispy
donut?
Kreme, the hot donuts
Oh.
now, it's always the
Does it taste
plain
like
glaze.
Krispy Kreme donuts?
No, it does not. Absolutely
Okay.
not. I'm
Does
not
it
kidding.
taste like Madagascar vanilla?
Yeah, Madagascar vanilla. I don't know. I definitely feel that I taste the vanilla. I get where you guys are coming from for that, but that's why I wanted to do this, because of like you go in going glazed donut, and it's like, so then it tastes exactly like a glazed. Does it really?
No, it doesn't.
No.
Sorry,
No, so
Grounds and
we'll
Hounds.
have to try this next time because we have one more. We have one more.
It's still yummy though.
You
I
have
mean,
any
it is.
glazed Guatemalan?
Glazed Guatemalan. Yeah, that'll be next.
That's it. Well, I'm hoping you're enjoying your coffee wherever you're at.
Yeah.
And we do enjoy our coffee a lot.
So we had to take some time off of the podcast here, but now that we're back and we're all feeling better.
Yeah.
Season 7.
Yeah, there we go.
Is it or is it 8?
It's 7.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay.
All right,
Yes,
that's good.
that is very
Been doing
good.
Been doing
this
this
a
for
while.
7 years.
I know.
I know.
We even changed departments.
Yeah.
That's it. We have, and we've talked about a lot of things over the different podcasts. So sometimes I feel like maybe things bear repeating because I don't know if all of you go back and look at previous ones. We always recommend doing that, like the weasel poop one.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
Weasel.
We need to get some more of that coffee.
It was good coffee. What is it called?
Copia Luwak.
Copia Luwak.
Yeah, but it's the kind we got came from Cambodia, so
Yes,
it was
it
just
did.
Civic Coffee. It was just it was like the off-brand.
What's the
Copia
difference?
Luwak. Nothing. It
No,
was
and
just-
it was a blend.
It was the
I
off-brand.
think it was a blend.
It was a
too.
blend.
But
Yeah,
it was
I know
very
that.
yummy, and
So
then
it
we
wasn't
talked
like
about that.
100%.
And we've done making coffee. If you're interested in coffee, we do stuff about the coffee. But
Well, do you know how I made this one?
did you do
You
it
said it was
pour
a
over?
K-cup or something.
No. It was a Chemex.
Chemex.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love Chemex.
So the filters, I didn't even know this, and I had a Chemex. The filters use glass. It's not actually paper.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So so that's where it's supposed to be a more pure taste.
It
you
is,
know?
and it's just so good. Josh does all the stuff where he measures the grounds, and then he measures it and puts the cup and measures the water and does the temperature and all, and it's so delicious. And I go, that looks about right,
Yeah.
and bzzz, and I
She's a
grind it.
mad scientist.
I know.
I know.
And I do ask him. I try to measure the beans, but it really doesn't taste as good at home as it does when Josh makes it, because I think he puts a lot of love.
Well, here's what I think it is. I think it's consistency.
Yes.
I think that's the difference.
Well, yeah, you get consistency because everything's measured.
Right.
And weighed.
Exactly.
And they
So-
talk about that. Who's the ones that do the Bad Bunny? It's not Bad Bunny. What's the coffee? What's the coffee?
Punk Bunny.
Punk Bunny.
Yeah, Green Day. Green Day has
There
a
we
coffee
go.
company. They used to be the Oakland Coffee Company, and now they're Punk Bunny.
Punk Bunny.
Yes.
But they do educational things.
Oh, they do. I
I'm
know.
on their. I get their newsletter, and it's not just to sell coffee
Right.
and coffee paraphernalia. They really send you stuff with information, and
It's
they
actually
did
pretty
one
good. Yeah.
lately that was like, why doesn't your coffee taste as good as at a shop or with a barista? And then
Right.
it was those things. He's like, you got to measure it. You got to measure the beans. You have to grind it to the right consistency for the type of coffee you're going to make, and all of that makes for a better cup of coffee.
Yeah.
You know.
That's where it comes down to.
It does. So maybe at least I'm using a Chemex and I am grinding with a burr grinder. I'm measuring the beans. I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I'm not to the whole measure the water, all of that yet.
Yeah.
Because of time constraints.
Yeah.
Well, see, but I'm at the point right now.
He does it pretty quick.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. 'cause,
surprised.
I mean, I got the kettle, and there's measurements on the kettle, and so I can pour it, fill it up to where it is on the kettle, and then because I'm using the scale, that's what really makes the difference. Is because I just put it all on the scale, and I know what number I'm shooting for. So.
It's
Go
great.
from there. That's why sometimes I don't understand what I'm missing, because I know that if I do say so myself, it's a fine cup of coffee. But
It
when we go
really
to
is.
a coffee shop and they do a pour over, it takes like 10 minutes sometimes.
Yeah.
And I don't really understand why it's taking so long. And it's
long.
not like it comes to me cold, so it's not sitting there for 10
Pouring it
minutes.
slowly.
I guess so. But
I think they pour it and then they go do something else.
I think that's
and
what
come
they
back,
do.
whereas you kind of stand
keep
there
it-
and keep
so-
it going.
All right, so here, I know what you're going to say, but I read an article There was a study that was done by scientists
Whoa.
at like MIT or something.
With lab
like that.
coats.
Yes,
Really?
yes. Well, because the thing was, I don't know, they were studying something else, and it was like somebody got the idea because they were all drinking coffee. That was like, how do we make the absolute best pour over? Like, what's the secret to making the best pour over?
What's the secret?
Agitating the beans. That's the secret.
You rot beans. You better get your...
You call yourself beans? You look like dirt. Yeah. Your mama was a mangrove tree.
Yeah.
So that one barista did that.
She did.
She stirred it, and we were
it.
kind of going, I don't think you're supposed to do that. But then apparently you're supposed to do that.
I did when I first got a pour over coffee maker. I watched all these videos, and this one guy that's in like France had this way of doing it where he like poured it from up here.
Yeah.
And he said you have to pour it out as fast as it's coming down. So if it's trickling down, you're trickling the water. He's like, you just like that, so that it's a constant motion of the water. But that's why he was doing that. I didn't realize that until I read this study. That's why he's said that was the best way to do it, is because it kept the beans, or it kept the grounds moving, and then that's what did it. So so I don't like do that. But I do, when I pour it so that it goes in a circle. Like once I cover all the grounds and it's all totally wet, I pour it so it moves kind of in a circle. And then when it starts to settle down, I pour it again real hard and then slow it down. And so it just kind of keeps it.
It's like a symphony.
Right, it just kind of keeps it moving. So, all right, so there we go.
Well,
That's
it's
good.
delicious.
Yeah.
I hope you're enjoying your coffee.
Awesome.
So music, guys, what's up?
All right,
What's
so
new?
I do have.
Uh-oh.
I know I got a couple of things for us here. Okay, so first of all, I have one thing that I thought would be a good discussion topic, and then I have another thing that might just be fun to talk about.
Okay.
We may or may not get to it. We can save it for another podcast,
Okay.
depending on how well the first thing goes. So I get through the first thing.
The first thing
before I get to
or the second thing?
It's-
Okay, got it.
Wait for the first thing to come.
We go with
This
the
is
movie
a movie
reference.
reference.
That's it.
Is it the first thing or the second thing?
That's it.
Tell me the second thing.
Okay, here's the second. No,
No.
the first thing. Okay, this was an article published before the pandemic, and the only reason why I say that is because I do think that has something to do with it. Okay, but interesting perspective: how to motivate kids to practice hard things.
Yeah, that's a job.
Right. Well, right, because isn't this what we do?
It's too hard.
Yeah, we hear that.
He doesn't practice
Oh,
because
no.
it gets hard and
It's
it
I'm
hard.
gets
sorry.
discouraged.
You're not
Yes,
talking about.
no.
You're talking about the grown-ups.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I mean,
The grown-ups say it's hard. Yes.
they probably say it's hard more than the kids.
It's built into the thing you're doing. It's an ingredient.
Yes,
And if you throw it out, you're going to get lesser results.
I know.
Why do we do that?
The struggle is beneficial.
Because we're lazy and we don't like working.
Or is that just like the human condition?
I think
Yeah.
it is.
The
Without a
laziness is
doubt.
baked in, and
Yeah.
But you really can't. You can't describe the feeling you have when you do that hard thing and you really, really work hard and you achieve something.
Yeah.
And now it feels so good and nobody can give you that feeling.
Absolutely.
You can't get it with a sticker or with a Skittle.
right.
That hard work and doing well, you feel good.
Yes.
I did that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so Ron is the master at that. Whenever he does something,
The master.
he is. And I've
Oh, yeah.
said so.
That's it.
But he'll do something like, I don't know, paint the house, paint the kitchen, wax on, wax. No, I'm not. he'll
Too
do-
much Karate Kid for you
I know.
guys.
He'll paint something, a room, and then he stands and looks at it.
I sit back and
And
take
he
it in.
sits back and
Yeah.
he enjoys the fact that he did that and that
Yeah.
it looks good and that he
Yeah.
accomplished that.
It came from painting cars as a kid.
Oh, okay.
Nothing is quite like taking a dingy, sanded up car
Mm-hmm.
and then turning it into something brand new.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
yeah.
amazing, especially if you use good colors. I remember in school I painted it was a Charger.
Okay.
It was like a 70 Charger, and it was purple,
Oh.
metallic purple.
Oh, wow.
So I went in there like gray from the primer and all
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
and I sprayed that stuff on her, and I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
You get the reflection and the gloss
cool.
and all that.
Yeah.
And you did that. And
Right.
you can enjoy, and it was hard work. Painting cars is hard work.
Yeah, it is.
Sweaty, dirty, smelly, hard work. And
Is it hard work?
it is.
Okay.
It's hard work. Yeah.
But you know,
She used to see me come home from painting.
Yeah.
You worked hard.
That's
it was.
That's it.
But you know, that.
Well, so this article then,
Go ahead.
this is the issue, right? It's so like, of course we know that we're the teachers, we're the ones that have done hard work. And like you brought up the adults. Okay, I do think that a majority of adults know in their head the benefits of hard work, but for some reason they don't apply it to learning an instrument. But I'll come back to that in a minute.
They may not know it as they've adopted it as a principle of their life.
Well, that's true. Right.
You know,
So here's the thing. So according to a recent survey by the Society of Human Resource Management, 97% of employers say that reliability is a very or extremely important qualification for any entry-level job. How do parents help kids learn to be reliable, people who others can consistently trust to do their best work? Okay? One place to start is to teach kids the importance of practice. Kids practice to reach all kinds of goals, writing their names, dribbling a basketball, playing a song on the guitar, but they aren't always motivated to practice, and they don't always practice in the right way. We know this. A highly effective and well-researched technique called deliberate practice allows you to repeatedly work
or
on
as
mental-
I say, you have to have your mind involved.
Yes.
Yeah,
You can't
mindful.
just do stupid practice where you're
Right.
going through the motions,
Just doing
not
it.
even paying
Yeah.
attention.
Absolutely. Research suggests that children as young as 5 can start to understand deliberate practice, and children and adolescents who engage in it make gains in school achievement and motor skills. So, what is deliberate practice? They go through a bunch. I won't read every single word for word, but they say it basically boils down to 4 principles for deliberate practice. Working on weaknesses.
There you go.
Rather than doing things you already do well, focus on the things that are hard for you.
Right.
Full concentration.
Yeah.
There it
It's
is.
difficult.
Your mind has to be involved.
If you're having distractions, it's hard to stay on task. Feedback. Deliberate practice involves finding out what you got right and where you were asked, where you made mistakes by asking a teacher or coach to check your work. Repetition until mastery.
There you go.
Requires you to keep working on your weaknesses, stay on task, and get your feedback until you've mastered the specific goal. So basically, 1, 2, and 3 over and over again until mastery, right? All right, so how do you motivate kids to engage in deliberate practice, which tends to be more demanding than shallow practice? In multiple experiments, this scientist and her colleagues studied American middle schoolers between 5th and 7th grade. So what, like 10 to...
Tough crowd.
Yeah, 10 to like
13.
14, 13, 14, right. Well, 7th grade, 13. As well as college undergrads. Okay, I thought that was interesting. They left the...
A gap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They randomly assigned adolescents from multiple schools to 2 groups. One group learned typical study skills, and the other group learned the difference between shallow practice and deliberate practice using animated videos, prompts for reflections, and short writing activities. In some of the videos, people shared their experiences with how hard deliberate practice is and some tips on how to handle the challenge. So these were the tips. Expect and be okay with failure.
Yeah.
Famous
That's-
people talked about how failure is a normal part of learning. They
There you
described
go.
having failed many
Tell them
times.
all the time that the studio floor is littered with mistakes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You just bring them out, knock them off,
They got it. It has to happen.
And that's part of a challenge that we have is putting our students at ease to make them feel like it's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Because this is what happens.
Well, because their pride's involved,
They're-
and they don't
yes.
want to look bad in front of you.
Right,
So
right.
and you tell them they did bad, they get all bummed out, and they don't want to do it anymore.
Right.
Well, and that's it. Because I'll tell them, I don't really do it intentionally. I think I used to. I always tell them something they've done good. So I start with, I love how you hit that perfect vowel on measure 14. That was perfect. Now measure 17, the E vowel, that's the one we have to work on. So it's, I always try to say, this is what you're doing well. And all of my voice students could tell you what their best vowel is, because they all have a best.
They all figured, yeah.
The O vowel is your best. Okay, so then that means we got to make all the other vowels kind of sound like the O vowel, or the A vowel is your best, or whatever.
To that quality.
Yeah, and so you got to start with what they do good. Then you can say, this is what you're doing wrong. This is your weakness.
Yeah,
Really.
there you go.
Yeah.
But there are some kids, and maybe some adults, that they don't want to hear they've done wrong.
Mm-hmm.
When like one student said, "You're always criticizing me."
Oh no!
I'm
Yes.
sorry. I should have been blowing sunshine in your
Yeah.
face the whole time. Boy, you're great, man. You can't play nothing, but wow.
I've had students say that, and I say
Have you?
that's what you're paying me for.
Yeah.
That's my answer. You're paying me to criticize you. That's
A good teacher. That's one of their jobs is to find the mistakes, point it out to them so they can recognize I made that mistake and then correct it.
That's why you have a teacher. Like, okay, so many people go to online, YouTube or whatever to learn an instrument or learn to sing, but that person can't watch you do it back and tell you if you're doing it right.
Yeah.
So you don't know if you're doing it right or not.
Right.
Eddie wrote me a 5-star Google review this week.
That was great.
That's
Thanks,
That's
Eddie.
great. Yeah. Thank you, Eddie. And he was saying, like, when I first started reading it, I was like, not knowing what to make of this. He said, "Man, Ron doesn't let me get away with not making it exactly right."
There you go.
I was like, "Ow, man!" That can be taken two ways,
Well,
but his point was well taken.
but it shouldn't be taken any other way than what it was meant. Is that you
hold
want
him to
him
a standard.
right? You
I
want
do.
him to reach the standard, and he can reach the standard.
Yes.
It's not an impossible standard. It's a high standard. It's a high bar, and you don't let him get away with mediocrity, which is exactly what you want.
Sometimes
in your
it
teaching.
takes a lot of repetitions to reach that point.
Yes. Yes.
But don't you ever get like with a student, like they've been on the same exercise or song or whatever for like 4 weeks, and you so badly want them to get it, and they get so close. They're so close that you stop and go, okay, do you think I could just pass them because they've got the general idea?
Well, it's not going to get
know.
away with nothing because the next exercise they do, it's going to
Sometimes I'll tell the student, I'll say, okay, so here's the deal. You and I both know you should do this another week. But if I pass you, I'm not budging on the next one.
Right.
And then it would be like, okay. And then sometimes they'll say, all right, well, give me another week. And then there's others that are like, no, just like they are hating life right now. Yeah. And they're like, just get off of this song.
Well, and the thing is, I always try to remind them.
Never want to hear Danny Boy for the rest of my life.
I tell them at the first lesson that this requires a lot of work. It's the hills and valleys thing.
Right.
The first one's the honeymoon, then you go down the valley. You find out there's some work involved to get up to the next hill. And so you could decide to just complain about the work involved or do the work, get to the next hilltop, and then you can see the other hilltops where they're at down the road, and you understand how this works. I go down a valley, you're going to go in a valley. It's going to happen. I'm going to find out there's work involved. I'm going to put the work in, and I'm going to rise up to the next one. If you keep doing that, that cycle will go, pretty much lifelong, but you'll be able to handle it.
Yeah.
It's not as devastating as it is the first time you do it.
Right. Right. Well, that leads to the second tip. Tolerate feeling frustrated and confused. A student told his life story from growing up poor and having trouble learning in elementary school to graduating from MIT. He shared that you make a lot of mistakes as you work on your weaknesses, which can be frustrating and confusing, but it means you're in the stretch zone. Rather than thinking it's a bad sign and time to give up, this is actually the time to keep going. People can learn to tolerate their frustration more and more with practice, and that's exactly what you were saying with the hills and valleys.
Yes.
Because if you get used to that this is how it goes, then
you function within a system.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, then when you hit a rough patch, it's a rough patch.
Yeah.
And you're
I
not
can get
like,
through this.
I can't do this.
Yeah.
This is over.
Ron Kay's music instruction has been trusted by thousands in Pensacola to learn, play, and love music. Our strong passion for teaching music provides expert knowledge and guidance which helps you succeed and have fun with your music lessons. Whether it's a bucket list dream or a desire to enhance your child's life, our music lessons are the answer. Call 850-453-9966 now. Realize your musical dreams. Visit musiclessonspensacola.com today.
I always encourage students to, if you're have more than one thing that you're practicing. So if you're working on a song and you keep messing up this one part and you're working on it and you just get so frustrated, put it aside, do another song, do a scale, do the other thing that you're working on, because what?
This brings me to I used to use a coaster. We had those coasters with the circles on them.
Oh,
It was
okay.
perfect.
Yeah.
But this is you, and this is the sphere of talent and things you can accomplish when you
Okay.
start lessons.
Right.
And you don't want to press yourself. You're going to stay here for a long time.
There you go.
But a good instructor will push you to the next ring.
Aha.
Now you're out here, and then you see
There you
you made distance there, and then they'll push you to another one. Now you're out here, and then pretty soon you're covering all this ground.
Ah, okay. There you go.
It's because you just stayed with it and kept plugging away at it.
Yeah, yeah, it's good. It's a good analogy. So
I was like, what is he
I have
going to do?
I have a
Those are $9.95 on Rock.
I know, that's it. Yeah. So that's good. That's good. So the next thing is question your beliefs about talent, and this is I'm a big one on this one. An actor, an athlete, and a musician talked about how practice led them to be successful.
Wait, three guys in a boat.
I know, right?
A pope, a rabbi.
A priest, a rabbi. An actor, an athlete, and a musician talked about how practice led them to be successful in their different life goals, and none of them mentioned talent. People mistakenly think that talent is the most important factor because they don't see all the hours of practice that go into people's final performances. I love when somebody says, that's something you can't teach, and I sit there and go, yes, that is something you can't teach.
That's right.
Yeah.
There
Not,
you go.
We do
it
it all the
can
time.
be taught.
Yeah.
Maybe you can't do it,
Well, and it's
but there's other people who can, with more
It's-
experience, that can do it.
it becomes frustrating because people say things like, and they'll say even to me, like, "Oh, Josh, your son, he is so talented," and I'm like,
How come they don't say it to me? They say it to you?
Because your head is too big.
Okay.
yes, he can play a lot of things, and it's pretty amazing. But
And he didn't put any practice.
Well, that's
I know,
what I'm
right? Yeah.
saying.
This is a kid,
Yeah, that
as a young boy, who had to be grounded because he wouldn't stop practicing.
Yeah, that's
He
true.
wouldn't get nothing done in his life. No schoolwork, no nothing. He's just going to practice.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, we
how many
had to
times
take
does that
away
happen?
his-
Yeah, a few. Well, it was funny because Mom brought that up a couple of weeks ago, and she was like, I know how this sounds, but I mean, I've thought about this, and just looking at it from everything I can remember, I just don't remember you struggling much,
Oh,
and I
come
was
on.
like, and I said, no, I struggled all the time, but I think what it was is that I don't know if I ever really complained about it.
no, that's
And,
right.
and I
that's
think
it.
part of the reason why, and you could come up with a bunch of explanations of how I got to the mind. It was my mindset.
Yes.
And how did I get to my mindset? Well, starting drums when I was 3, and
Yeah.
stuff. I'm sure it had something to do with it. But the mindset was never, I'm not going to get this.
Yeah.
I just don't. I need more time. That was the mindset. Was this is going to happen? It's just going to take me time.
Yeah,
You
just a
you
matter of
were
when.
always very determined. You were not going to let it beat you.
Yeah.
I'm not letting this song, this exercise, this rudiment
No.
is not going to beat me.
Right.
She learning that Zeppelin tune. What's the one?
Oh, Since I've Been Loving You.
Yeah, Since I've Been Loving
On
You.
the guitar.
Yeah. I told him this is a really cool song, and you need to break it down and learn it.
Mm-hmm.
And he went measure by measure and
Yeah.
broke
Yeah.
each one of them down
Yeah.
and learned the song and played it really great.
Yeah.
And that's what you could ask. You couldn't ask for anything more than that.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
If every student had that,
Yeah.
I think too often they don't value the struggle.
Well,
Yeah.
we it's too easy. I try not to do this because social media is an easy target. social media, YouTube, is an easy target to say, oh, that's the source of all the evil in the world, right? All the problems in our society, social media and YouTube, because yes, you can turn up a video on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or whatever and see somebody doing something amazing, and they're like, oh yeah, I never took a lesson a day in my life, and look how amazing I am.
They're lying,
right? And they're lying, and most of the time, they're either flat out lying, or they're not telling the full story, or
they're just not as good as they.
That's the thing.
Are.
Like, I remember the day that I figured out, because I was watching a video about Stevie Ray Vaughan, and Stevie Ray Vaughan for a while there was always the go-to example all the guitarists would point to of why they didn't need to take lessons, because
really?
We had several students of ours that were like, "Was Stevie Ray Vaughan
like every minute of his breathing life?"
Albert King taught him lessons.
Oh well, yeah.
Oh, wow.
He sat with him.
And not him. He sat with a lot of other guys too.
Yeah. So it wasn't like, oh, he just had a guitar and one day just came out amazed.
He noodled with it. Next thing you know, he was
absolutely
great.
Right. So it was something that he did take lessons and he did practice and apply himself, and none of this stuff here escaped him.
Yeah.
It's really hard because when students, boy students, they come in and when they've really practiced, then they'll ask me questions about, certain notes or so. Why is it that when I hit this one note, it just doesn't sound right, and I hit this other note that's here and it sounds great. And, I tell them that I spent hours on each note with each vowel to get it to sound just the way I wanted it to sound. And they're like, they look at me, and I'm not exaggerating.
Right.
Fourth line D, all my voice students out here, they hear me talk. Fourth line D for a soprano is a rough note. And I can remember sitting in the practice room, hitting that note, singing it on an O vowel, hitting it, singing it, hitting it, singing it.
Well, so let's just bring in this full circle. Working on the weakness.
Yes.
Full concentration.
Yes.
Feedback.
Yes.
Repetition until mastery.
There you go.
And that's what did it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And now I can hit a fourth line D, no problem.
Absolutely.
I don't have to think about it.
Right.
And they get like...
Do it right now. No, I'm just kidding.
Always the wise.
She's like, I can actually do it. Yeah. She's thinking in her head right now.
But the thing is, it took a lot of time.
Yeah.
And so I had a student the other day say something, and I was like, there's not a shortcut. There is not a shortcut. Some things you can shortcut maybe, and there's certain things that come easier to some students than others, but you can't, you got to do it. You got to put the work in.
Well, and if it was so easy and everybody did it, just
would have no value.
It would have no value.
Yeah.
That's right. So I think it's a mindset that people have to adopt for it. I think the issue is it was funny because I brought this up talking about kids, and then you were like, well, it's the adults. Well, I think this is where the parents come into play when it comes to supporting your child in their music learning, because if you want your child to learn how to play an instrument or learn how to sing and get all of the benefits that come from doing that, you have to properly support them.
Yes.
And so the parents have to have the right mindset too about what it takes to do this, so that they can continue to encourage their kids, because we hear this all the time that it becomes a battle, right? Getting into practice, it becomes a battle, So what do you guys suggest to the parents, tips that maybe the parents could implement with their students to help them in understanding
They
this
have
process?
to understand it first. They have to value it, the process. If they don't, then it doesn't matter. There's no magic wand.
They have to value the process. Parents want their kids to play the piano, and for example, and they want them to have the benefits of playing the piano and the benefits of, all these other things that they know if they play an instrument, they have all these benefits. But it's the process that gets you all those benefits.
That's exactly right.
And
it's overlooked.
Right. And then they'll say, well, I told them to practice each song 3 times. that's not the process.
Yeah, right.
The process is not practice the song 3 times.
If
Okay,
you're going to
check.
invest money in your
Yeah.
kid doing this, you need to make sure you're getting your money's worth by making sure they practice.
Yes. Or helping them with their weakness. So can I
Yeah.
give an example?
Right.
So this one student was really struggling with keeping her wrist down. If this was the keys, keeping her wrist like this. And
Yeah,
so
we're on
she-
a podcast. Her
I'm
wrists
sorry,
were below the keys.
below the keyboard,
Yes.
and then it would make her play flat. So I'm encouraging, put the little ball under there, pretend there's a bubble, don't break the bubble, you do all these things. And then the dad came up with an idea.
Mm-hmm.
And she had these little octopus stuffed animal that fit right here.
Oh, cool.
And he put it on her wrist somehow, had 2 of them, and said, now don't squish the octopus.
Ah,
great.
Well, I mean, the kid,
and she got it.
she only had to do it for a week.
Yeah.
And that, because she's a kid, they learn quick.
Yeah.
And now, no problem.
How about
And if
that?
it starts to drop a little, I'll say, do we need to get the octopus? And then she just remembers and goes right back. It's that muscle memory built in.
Yeah.
But the dad
Came
was
up with
so
that idea.
ingenious to
Yeah.
come up with that idea.
Well,
so,
here's the other thing then about that. So you brought up the parents have to understand the process. They have to value the process. Well, see, that was a father who was engaged in the lesson.
yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I think that's the other thing too, is that sometimes parents treat the instrument lessons or vocal lessons the same way that they treat soccer practice.
Yeah, you
Or
drop your kid
just
off
go
and,
play.
yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
and
no.
you do your thing, and then I'll pick you up in an
Right.
hour.
Yeah.
And if the parents are involved in what's going on, see, that's when stuff like that
Yes.
can come out. Because I like to tell parents all the time that, like, hey, nobody knows your kid better than you.
Right.
So why don't we use that here?
Yes.
Like, you can be involved. Like, he knew that would work for her.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
yes.
And you didn't
And it
know
was
that.
fun.
Right. And it was
yeah,
fun.
yeah.
And right. So that kind of insight that he had was able to help her with the process, but he had to be there.
Yes, to see.
to see that.
Yes. No, and you're absolutely right, because now all these students are going through my brain. The ones that succeed are the ones whose parents are not just sitting in the lesson, but are like up there watching.
Yeah.
Or the voice student parents that I send the exercises to their phone, and they have to have the student practice and help them practice.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are succeeding.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Well, and even the older kids, because we always say that, like, for the younger kids, we make the parents stay in the lessons. You don't have a choice.
We require
Yeah.
it up until like about
It's
9.
good.
Yeah,
That's good.
absolutely. But and I never had an issue with any of my teenager kids, having parents in the lesson or anything like that ever. I mean, neither one of us. But sometimes it's it's a little kids driving themselves to the lessons and stuff like that, and it's a little bit more independent, and that's good. But they could still be involved.
Yes.
And they could still be, okay, so what do they have to work on? How are things going? There's some parents that, they drop their kid off with the lesson, but then it's kind of a known thing that I go out there and talk to them.
Yeah, I was going to
every
say
week.
you go out and you say
Yeah.
something.
And they
yes.
want to know. They want to know how they do,
Yeah.
where are they doing all right? How they work, and
Or they say, you don't have to talk to my dad today, do you?
Oh, yeah. There's always that. All right, see you next week. Bye. And I'm like, wait a minute. Don't shut the door. I'm coming.
But it is that involvement, and it's an accountability.
But
too.
that's also where, like, the kids are not just gonna intrinsically know, and value deliberate practice, right?
Yeah.
It's a skill that has to be taught. And it has to be reinforced. And that's where sometimes I think that parents might have a hard time drawing that line, because they think, oh, this is supposed to be fun. So if I do something like take away the Nintendo Switch because my kid told me they practiced and they didn't, you know what I mean? That's like, oh, well, now I'm fighting with them over practicing, and it's not fun anymore, and now I'm making them do it, and all of that stuff starts to factor in.
Well, and my thing is... Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Okay, so your kid decides they're not doing math anymore.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that was
well,
just... Yeah, that's
You're like,
it.
okay,
Well,
I
do
don't
you
want to
make-
fight
yeah.
with you.
Right.
Do you make them do their homework?
Man,
Probably.
Right,
They probably
right.
do, and this is like homework. I mean...
they don't value it as much as math or whatever, and which is a wrong thing. It's very uninformed, you know.
Well, I think sometimes too, it's the association. The association with math is nobody likes math. And I mean, I'm sorry, all the math people that are listening to this, they're screaming and yelling at their car right now. But no, I know, yes, you might, some people do. But typically speaking, everybody kind of understands that it's the thing we have to do, no matter what, whether you like it or not, it has to be done because you can't graduate if you can't pass, algebra, right? So, everybody just kind of accepts the fact that even if I don't like this, it has to be done, and parents understand that as well. But for some reason, when it comes to music, the term fun has to be floated out there. Like, that is the main goal.
And I always ask them, does your child have any chores that they do on a regular basis? Do they take the trash out or cut the grass or anything like that? And do you ever have to make them do it?
Yeah.
I never make my kid do stuff. That's why my grass is like 9 feet tall outside,
Right. Well, and I think it goes back to the kids are not going to just intrinsically value
it's human
these
nature.
Things. It's human nature, right? If you just took a kid, and just gave them an apartment all by themselves, it would be a mess within a couple of days, And it's like, so that's the job of parents, is to teach them that to be a successful human being, these are certain things that you have to do, And yes, it is fun when you know how to play.
When you know how to play. Yes, I was just going to say that. And that's the bottom line. When you can play, then it's fun. And then, it is fun. It's fun as a teacher when you have students that start to enjoy the song. Like they struggle. And Zachary is so great at that. He'll really work hard at a song, work, and I hate this song, and I get all of the same, and then he plays it, and he'll hear himself playing it, and he did "My Heart Will Go On" from the Titanic movie.
Celine Dion,
and he was like, by the end, he went, "Oh my gosh, that was so beautiful. Now that's I know awesome. Why my dad was crying every time I played this song."
Oh,
like he never heard it from that perspective. Yeah. And when he heard it, he was like, "That's so beautiful." And I did that. So that was that hard work and rewards, and then the joy feedback. Of making music. That was beautiful. Yeah, it was a beautiful arrangement in this book. But and he expresses that well, which is so great as a teacher to get that the feedback.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, and that I think that's the thing, is when something like that happens, that's kind of the fuel as a teacher that kind of keeps you going.
It does,
because it's like, it's not, of course we appreciate it when we see students that are singing on big stages and things like that, and that's always great. But sometimes it's those small little victories like that are like they mean just as much, because it's like you got it, you got it, and you see it. And this is why we love playing music.
We all work to ignite that match.
Yes.
Yeah. If we could get that fire going in them to where they're on their own, then it's like really rewarding. That's more rewarding than playing on a big stage.
Yeah, it is.
It's just you can't put it into words. I had that one guy from a regional band that came to the house, and he's having me check out his band and stuff on the internet, and he was like, "Well, do you do any of that?" I said, "Man, I've done a lot of that in the past, but right now I just teach, and I value that."
And absolutely.
He looked at me so strange. I said, "Man, there's nothing more rewarding than having this passion inside for something that's so incredible, and then sharing that with somebody and having them get it."
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And now they're fired
up.
Right.
And he didn't understand that, but
Well, and when you have students that you teach, and then after a while they move on and whatever, and then later on connect with you again, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm still playing," or like, "I got my kid now and they're playing," and and it's like, that was the goal, that lifelong musician,
Ryan on a aircraft carrier in Greece.
I know, still playing the banjo. That's it.
Go Ryan.
Go Ryan.
We're proud of
Stay safe, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
So so it is. It's a great thing. So. All right. Well, that was good.
Yes.
We can just go ahead and wrap it up there. We don't have to get to the second thing.
We'll get to the second.
We'll do the second thing in the next episode.
Yes,
I know, yeah,
go.
because I had a feeling that was gonna spark a good conversation there. So, all right, we'll see you guys next time on Coffee with the K's. This has been Coffee with the K's. Thank you for listening. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Coffee with the K's is brought to you by Ron K's Music Instruction. Whether you're a total beginner or an experienced musician, we can help you meet your musical goals. Visit musiclessonspensacola.com for more information. Intro and outro music is brought to you by Ron K of his album K-Struction, which can be streamed anywhere you listen to awesome music. We'll see you next time.